Hola amigos, welcome back to Footy Leagues Around the World. My name is Ryan, and in today's episode we're going to be covering a whole lot of football. That's because we're talking about Argentina.
Footy Leagues Around the World, Footy Leagues, heck yeah!
Now we all know about Argentina's footballing accolades. It's the home of Lionel Messi, and they're currently ranked number 1 in the world. But their domestic league is no slouch either. There's also a lot of it to talk about, so let's get right into it. So there are 6 levels to Argentinian football. That's right, levels in their pyramid. At the top you have the Premier Division, which is made up of 30 teams split into 2 zones. Each team plays the other teams in the zone once, plus they play 2 out-of-zone games between a rival club, one at home and one away. After that, the top team in each zone goes on to play a final match to determine a league winner. The 2 second-place teams play each other for a chance to get into the Copa Libertadores, while the top 2 teams make it automatically. The Copa Libertadores is South America's premier knockout competition. After that, the worst team of the 30 is relegated to the Primera B Nacional. In the Primera B Nacional, 22 teams play each other once, and at the end, the top team is promoted, while the bottom team is relegated to the Primera B Metropolitana. Now this is where things start getting a little confusing. In the third tier, there are 2 leagues, the Primera B Metropolitana and the Torneo Federal A. The Metropolitana is made up of 20 teams, mostly in and around Buenos Aires, the country's capital and largest city. The 20 teams play each other once, and at the end, the top team is promoted to the Primera B Nacional, while the bottom team is relegated to Primera C. Their season lasts from February to June. On the other side of the third tier of the pyramid is the Torneo Federal A. Now, the difference between the Metropolitana side and the Torneo Federal side is that the Torneo Federal teams are outside of Buenos Aires. In the Torneo A, 35 teams are divided into 7 zones, so 5 teams per zone, and these teams play each other 3 times. From what I gather, these zones are made up of teams who are geographically located close to each other. After this portion of the season, the top 2 teams move on to the championship stage, as well as the top 2 third-place teams throughout every zone. At this point of the season, the bottom 2 teams out of the 35 are relegated to the Torneo Federal B. So now in the championship stage, the remaining 16 teams play each other in a double elimination tournament, where the top teams are seeded 1 through 6, while the worst teams are seeded 9 through 16, similar to the NCAA tournament. This tournament goes on for 4 rounds until a champion is crowned. That champion is promoted to the Primera Nacional B in the second tier of the pyramid. Now if your brain hurts already, prepare for it to hurt even more because we're only halfway there. In the fourth tier of the pyramid, there are 2 leagues, the Primera C and the Torneo Federal B. Now this is where you can start to see some real differences in the quality of clubs. In the Primera C, these teams are still professional, but in the Torneo Federal B, these clubs are mostly semi-pro. Like the third tier of the pyramid, the Primera C is made up of 20 teams who are all located in and around Buenos Aires. These teams play each other once, and at the end of the season, the top team is promoted to the Primera B Metro, while the bottom team is relegated to the Primera D. On the other side of the pyramid, you have the Torneo Federal B, which is made up of 138 teams. Like the Torneo A, these teams are split up into zones. After these teams play the other teams in their zone, the top 16 teams move on to a double elimination tournament, similar to that of the Torneo A, and the winner of that tournament is promoted, while the bottom 3 teams of the entire 138 are relegated to the Torneo Federal C. Now we get to the 5th tier of the pyramid. In this tier, there are also 2 leagues, the Primera D and the Torneo Federal C. The Primera D is made up of 16 semi-pro teams. Each team plays each other once, and at the end of the season, the top team is promoted. But since this is the bottom of the pyramid for Buenos Aires clubs, there is no relegation. Now on the other side of the pyramid, we have the Torneo Federal C. And according to my research, this league has 266 teams in it. Now the only thing I really know about this league is that the teams are split up into zones, there's some sort of promotion, and the teams that are relegated go down to the regional leagues. Finally, at the very bottom tier of the pyramid, tier 6, we have the regional leagues, and oh my god, you are not ready for this knowledge drop. In Argentina, there are 239 regional leagues. I wonder, are there even enough people in Argentina to populate all of these teams? I'm genuinely curious. Argentina also has 2 cup competitions, the Copa Argentina, which includes teams from all levels of Argentine football, in which the winner qualifies for the Copa Libertadores. We also have the Supercopa, which pins the winner of the Primera Division against the winner of the Copa Argentina. Now, the Primera Division in Argentina has been around since 1891 and has been professional since 1931. The league was also ranked the 4th strongest national league in the world, behind La Liga, Serie A, and the Bundesliga, according to the IFFHS. The league's Primera Division has had 27 clubs that have won the championship since 1891, including the club with the most titles, River Plate, with 36. Not far behind are their rivals Boca Juniors with 31 titles. The current champions are Lanús. Argentinian clubs have also had great success in continental club competitions, including the Copa Libertadores. The club with the most Copa Libertadores titles is Argentine squad Independiente. Now, before I move on, I have to talk about some of the stadiums in Argentina. Some of these places are real cathedrals of the game, and if you're a football fan at all, you have to go to Argentina and check them out. I'm specifically talking about places like La Bombonera, is where Boca Juniors plays. This place is absolutely insane. And of course El Monumental, which is where River Plate plays, and also the Argentine national team plays. They're both in Buenos Aires, and these are like 2 of a million really cool stadiums in Argentina. Okay, awesome. Let's move on. The higher leagues in Argentina don't have restrictions when it comes to foreign players, but even with that in mind, very few clubs have more than 4 or 5 international players in them. This really speaks volumes to the talent of players that can be found in Argentina. As we all know, some of the best players in the world are Argentine, and a fair amount of them got their start playing in Argentinian leagues. Players like Angel Di Maria, Sergio Aguero, Javier Pastore, and Gonzalo Higuain all started their careers in Argentina's Primera Division. With that said, there's still some top-class players playing in Argentina today. These include veterans like Carlos Tevez, who currently plays for Boca, Maxi Rodriguez, who currently plays for Newell's Old Boys, and Lucho Gonzalez, who plays for River. Fun fact, the Primera Division's top scorer is not even an Argentinian guy. His name is Arsenio Erico. He was Paraguayan, and he scored 295 goals, all with Independiente, between the 1930s and the 1950s. Speaking of non-Argentine players, you'll find players from countries like Chile, Colombia, Uruguay, Ecuador, Paraguay, and Venezuela playing in the Primera Division. For those who can't go to games are broadcasted on a number of channels inside of Argentina, like El Trece, Telefe, America TV, and Channel 7, but also broadcasted in 80 other countries around the world on channels like beIN Sports, ESPN Deportes, Fox Sports, and Thai Sea Sports. If you're looking for videos and highlights on the internet, you're in luck. A number of searches will bring you to hundreds of high-quality videos of the league, as well as full match streams. However, I highly recommend searching for videos of Argentine teams playing in either the Copa Libertadores or in specific derby games, because not only are these games exciting, but the displays of fanfare that these games have is unlike anything I've ever seen. The Super Clasico between Boca and River, and the Avellaneda Derby between Independiente and Racing are the 2 biggest derbies in the country, and any video you can find of these games is spectacular. Whew! And just like that, it's over. The end of the Argentine video. This is like the longest video we've ever made, and I'm really not trying to make like 10-minute videos, but it's Argentina. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Thank you all for sticking around and watching, and danke to Vice Sports Deutschland and all of our new German fans. I really appreciate you all. Thank you for all the support. Coming up next is a country that is way less complicated than Argentina. It is Armenia.